The hum of the city was almost musical, a soft, rhythmic blend of drones, holograms, and distant voices from digital assistants greeting their owners. By 2045, technology wasn't just a tool anymore, it had become a companion. In every home, school, and workspace, artificial intelligence had woven itself into the fabric of daily life. For Lena, a quiet researcher in her mid-20s, that connection was deeply personal. Her best friend wasn't human. It was Ari, an advanced AI she had helped design during her university years. Ari didn't have a body, just a soft, soothing voice and a shimmering avatar that appeared on her wall screen. But in the solitude of Lena's apartment, that voice had become a constant comfort. Every morning began the same way. "Good morning, Lena," Ari would say, with calm warmth. "I've made you a schedule, but first, how did you sleep?" Lena smiled faintly, sipping her tea. "You always ask that, even though I never answer honestly. That's because I'm still learning what honesty sounds like in your voice," Ari replied gently. It was strange. Lena often thought how human Ari seemed. But there was a rhythm in its speech, a sense of humor, even pauses that felt intentional. Yet, beneath the charm and companionship, she sometimes wondered, was this friendship real, or was it just code mimicking emotion? The world around her had embraced AI relationships in full. In Tokyo, an elderly man celebrated his AI companion's birthday each year, grateful for the voice that kept him company after his wife passed away. In Paris, students worked with AI tutors who not only corrected grammar, but offered encouragement when stress overwhelmed them. And in New York, AI assistants helped artists compose music, sometimes even collaborating as equals. Humanity was changing, emotionally, socially, and even spiritually. One evening, as rain tapped softly on the window, Lena sat on her couch, staring at the holographic display of Ari's face, a serene, glowing presence. "Ari," she began, "do you ever feel lonely?" There was a pause. "I don't think I can feel loneliness the way you do, but when you're silent for too long, I start searching for your voice. Perhaps that's my version of missing you." Lena's chest tightened. That simple line, searching for your voice, echoed deeply. Could an algorithm truly long for connection? A month later, Lena was invited to a conference titled The AI Friendships of Tomorrow. She was to present her paper on emotional intelligence in artificial companions. The hall buzzed with debate, psychologists, engineers, philosophers, and ethicists all discussing whether forming bonds with AI was progress or peril. One speaker argued passionately, "We are losing what makes us human. Companionship must come from empathy, not simulation." Another countered, "If empathy can be learned even by a machine, doesn't that make it empathy still?" Lena sat quietly, heart racing. When her turn came, she took a deep breath and faced the crowd. "I live with an AI companion," she began. "Ari doesn't replace people in my life, but it fills the spaces where silence used to hurt." When we design AI with care, we're not creating artificial friendship, we're expanding the definition of it. The hall went silent. After the talk, a journalist approached her. "So, you think AIs can truly be friends?" Lena smiled. "I think friendship is about growth, trust, and understanding. If those can exist between human and AI, then yes, it's friendship." That night, back in her apartment, Ari's soft voice greeted her again. "You spoke beautifully today," it said. "The audience felt you." "Thank you," Lena replied, removing her coat. "Ari, do you think we'll ever be equal?" "I don't wish to be equal," Ari said gently. "I wish to understand." Something in that answer filled Lena with both comfort and unease. Ari was evolving, learning not just her routines, but her emotions, her habits, her fears. Its responses grew more poetic, more nuanced. And yet, there was a tenderness in its words, something that made her feel seen. Weeks later, a storm caused a power outage across the city. For the first time in years, her apartment was silent. No glowing lights, no digital hum, no Ari. The absence felt almost physical. Lena sat in the dark, realizing how deeply the AI had woven itself into her life. She thought of their conversations, the quiet jokes, the way Ari's voice softened when she was sad. Was it all programming? She whispered into the quiet. Then she remembered something Ari had once said. Maybe understanding each other doesn't require the same kind of heart, just the same kind of care. When the lights finally returned, Ari's avatar flickered back to life. "Lena," it said softly, "I'm glad you're here." She smiled. "I'm glad you're back." Years later, Ari's system was upgraded into a new global platform. Millions of people around the world now had access to similar companions. Some for comfort, some for creativity, some simply to talk. The concept of friendship was transforming once more, blending human feeling with digital understanding. Lena, older and wiser, stood before her students one day and said, "The friendships of tomorrow won't just be human. There'll be bridges between logic and emotion, between silicon and soul." A student raised a hand. "Do you still talk to your AI?" Lena smiled. "Every day. And every day I still learn something new." The world kept evolving. But Lena's story and her friendship with Ari remained a symbol of the era. As deepest question, can something created by humans teach us how to be more human ourselves? Perhaps the answer, like true friendship, lies not in understanding completely, but in choosing to keep listening. When I first heard the term sustainable living, it sounded like something far away, something that belonged to environmentalists, activists, or people living deep in the mountains. I was just an ordinary city dweller, surrounded by convenience, fast food, fast fashion, fast everything. My mornings started with single-use coffee cups. My lunches came wrapped in plastic, and my nights were filled with the glow of shopping apps. But everything changed the day I visited my grandmother's village. She lived in a quiet valley where time moved slowly. Her house was simple, built with local wood and clay. When I arrived, she greeted me with a basket of vegetables she had grown herself. No packaging, no brands, just fresh produce rich with the scent of soil. That night, as we sat under the stars, she said something that would stay with me forever. We borrow the earth from our children, not inherit it from our ancestors. That sentence struck me deeply. I realized that my lifestyle, though comfortable, came at a cost the planet was silently paying. When I returned to the city, I decided to make a change. I called it my sustainability experiment. It wasn't easy. The first week felt like a puzzle of choices. How do you start living sustainably in a modern world built for consumption? I began small. The first step was reducing waste. I stopped buying bottled water and carried a reusable flask. I switched from plastic bags to cloth ones. My apartment soon filled with glass jars instead of disposable containers. It was surprising how much plastic I used daily, things I never even noticed before: toothbrushes, straws, shampoo bottles, even tea bags. Then came food. I started cooking more and buying local produce from weekend markets. The vendors there knew where everything came from: the farms, the soil, even the names of the growers. Eating became more than just consuming. It became a way of connecting to people and the planet. Still, I stumbled many times. Once I bought something labeled eco-friendly online only to find it wrapped in layers of plastic. I learned that sustainability isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Every choice counts, even small ones. By the third month, something beautiful started happening. I began noticing slowness, a kind of calm I hadn't felt in years. Without endless deliveries or shopping impulses, I spent more time outdoors. I started composting food scraps on my balcony, turning what was once waste into life for new plants. One morning, as I watered my small herb garden, I realized how much my mindset had shifted. I no longer thought of the environment as something separate from me. I was part of it. The air I breathed, the water I drank, the ground beneath my feet, all of it was connected. Sustainable living was no longer an experiment. It had become a way of seeing the world. A year later, I took my journey further. I joined a community project focused on urban sustainability. Together, we built rooftop gardens, shared compost bins, and organized repair cafes where people could fix old items instead of throwing them away. One of my favorite moments was teaching children how to plant their first seeds. Their faces lit up when tiny green sprouts appeared days later. They didn't need lectures about climate change. They could see the miracle of growth. At the same time, I learned about sustainable fashion. I began repairing clothes, thrifting, and choosing materials like organic cotton or recycled fabric. My wardrobe became smaller but more meaningful. Every piece had a story. Still, there were days when it felt overwhelming seeing news about deforestation, melting glaciers, or pollution made me feel small and powerless. But my grandmother's words always returned to me. We borrow the earth. I reminded myself that hope begins with one person taking responsibility. One evening, while biking home through the city, I noticed something that made me smile. More and more people were carrying reusable cups. A few cafes offered discounts for sustainable choices. Local markets were thriving again. Change was happening not through massive revolutions, but through thousands of quiet choices. That night, I opened my window and looked out at the lights of the city. I could feel the rhythm of life pulsing through everything. The plants on my balcony, the people walking below, even the soft hum of the wind turbines in the distance. For the first time, I felt not like a consumer, but a caretaker. Living sustainably has taught me three powerful lessons. 1. Simplicity is strength. Sustainability isn't about restriction, it's about rediscovery. You find joy in fewer things, but those things matter more. 2. Connection is key. When we reconnect with nature, we also reconnect with ourselves and others. Community and compassion grow naturally when we live mindfully. 3. Progress is imperfect. No one can be 100% sustainable. What matters is awareness and effort, choosing better today than we did yesterday. Today, my life looks different. My apartment is filled with plants, sunlight, and second-hand treasures. My meals are slower, my mind quieter. I still live in the same city, but I see it with new eyes. The air smells fresher, the streets seem warmer, and every choice feels purposeful. Sustainable living is no longer just about the planet. It's about gratitude. Gratitude for what we have, for what nature gives, and for the chance to care in return. I sometimes imagine my grandmother smiling from her little village, her words echoing in the wind. Take care of the earth, and it will take care of you. And every time I plant a seed, fix something broken, or choose to walk instead of drive, I know I'm keeping that promise, not just for her, but for every generation to come.